Prisoners is a bleak, bleak, bleak movie. Visually, thematically, and plot-wise. We never see the sun, instead opting for permanently gray skies and a rain-soaked, sparsely lit frame. It explores the darkest depths of humanity and cruelty, and it invites us to consider the viability of torturing mentally handicapped people as a means to an end. And it's this last point that I think is worth exploring. Keller kidnaps Alex about 40 minutes in, which means that, for most of the movie, Keller is imprisoning and periodically torturing someone who has the IQ of a 10-year-old. With that in mind, let me ask this question. Who are we supposed to be rooting for? Are we supposed to admire Keller for his behavior? For kidnapping and torturing a mentally disabled human being despite a complete lack of physical evidence?
Well, this thing's clean. I mean, it's filthy as shit, but we didn't find anything.
We haven't found any physical evidence inside the RV. Or at his aunt's house where he lives. I've just spent 10 hours questioning this boy, okay? I hear what you're saying.
And even though every new piece of information he finds indicates Alex didn't take Anna, he still doesn't release him? And while you may be tempted to say he was just doing what needed to be done, keep in mind he got zero relevant information from torturing Alex. He figured out where Anna was purely because Joy escaped and gave him a clue.
You live here?
And yes, Joy was only able to give that clue because Keller had already been to Alex and Holly's house, but he wasn't there because of something Alex said. He was there under the guise of apologizing for scaring Alex.
And I know I scared him the other day at the police station, and I kind of feel responsible for him running away.
And to investigate the house because he was still convinced Alex did it. So again, who are we supposed to be rooting for? I guess we're rooting for the girls to be found, so in that sense we're rooting for Loki. But then what? What's the best case scenario here? Anna goes back to the care of Keller? After seeing his true colors and seeing what he's capable of, I'm not entirely convinced that's a good thing.
Smell it on your own!
And to be fair, screenwriter Aaron Guzikowski might agree. Apparently the first version of his script didn't have the whistle, but producers thought that would be too bleak. On the movie's official website, the plot synopsis opens with the question, how far would you go? Presumably regarding how far Keller will go to find his daughter. But it really becomes a how far would you go test for the audience, and how much patience we have for Keller, as he dives deeper and deeper into what people are capable of doing to each other. Sure, when the girls first disappear, I think we can all agree we're on Keller's side, and we can even forgive him for being a little excitable.
I don't think you are considering all possibilities.
I hear what you're saying.
No,
Sir,
listen to
sir,
me. Just shut the fuck up for a fucking second.
But as he goes further and further down this dark road, at what point do you stop rooting for this guy? At what point do you put your foot down and say, this is wrong, he needs to be stopped?
Shit, man, this ain't right. I mean, what if you're wrong?
Where that line is will probably vary depending on the viewer, but this movie sets out to find that line.
We're not gonna help Keller, but we won't stop him either. Let him do what he needs to.
And if that was all Prisoners had to offer, if that was its main reason for existence, to push the audience to its moral limits of what we'll acquiesce to, I would be perfectly comfortable dismissing the movie outright. But that's not all it has to offer. It presents more compelling ideas, particularly with its visual language, that complement and deepen this sadistic test of the audience. Yes, it's an exercise in how monstrous people can be to one another, but it's also an exploration of why. Think about the opening lines of the movie.
No more food gets delivered to the grocery store. Gas stations dry up. People just turn on each other, and all of a sudden, all that stands between you and being dead is you.
Keller apparently knows that people might one day turn on each other, unaware of the dramatic irony of that statement, but he doesn't specify how or why that might happen. And yet director Denis Villeneuve and cinematographer Roger Deakins have a possible answer. They end this scene with a brief shot of the deer that Ralph just killed through the back windshield. This shot is mirrored a few minutes later as the kids walk away from the camper, while an unseen viewer may or may not be watching them from inside. This shot of the deer through the back windshield, and this shot of the kids through the back windshield, not only creates the parallel that these little girls are prey in the same sense this deer is, but it dehumanizes them, equating them with game to be hunted. This idea is reinforced visually a second time with the tree shot, which IndieWire listed as their favorite single piece of cinematography from any movie in 2013. The girls leave the house, Thanksgiving merriment is happening inside, and then we cut abruptly to this outside shot, where the camera dollies in and the score ominously rumbles. And then we cut back inside, some time later, and the girls are gone.
Where are your sisters?
As pointed out in IndieWire's analysis, this is the exact moment where to assume the girls are kidnapped. Instead of showing us the kidnapping, Villeneuve and Deakins show us the tree. And while there are a lot of trees in this movie, and windows for that matter, to me, the tree shot is a particular callback to the first shot of the movie, which, again, is trees revealed to be hiding prey. The opening shot shows trees just as prey is being hunted. And the tree shot shows the tree just as the girls are being hunted. Again, dehumanizing them and equating them with game. And that's the thesis of Prisoners. Once you strip people of their humanity, you can justify literally any horrendous act against them. Or, as Keller puts it,
He's not a person anymore. No, he stopped being a person when he took our daughters.
listen to this throwaway line from Holly Jones after it's revealed that she and her husband have been disappearing children for years.
His name was Jimmy. Or Barry. Can't remember. Doubt he can either. So many names. Forgot all about Bobby Taylor till I read about him in the paper.
She forgets their names because their identities don't matter to her. Their personhood doesn't matter to her. Alex's name isn't even Alex, but she stripped him of his identity, and thus his humanity, in order to make it easier to harm him, the same way Keller does. And that is exactly what Holly wants.
Making children disappear is the war we wage with God. Makes people lose their faith. Turns them into demons like you.
By turning into a monster, regardless of the reasons he may use to justify it, Keller is doing exactly what Holly intended when she took Joy and Anna. She's apparently been doing it for decades, just to show how monstrous people can be, and Keller plays right into her hand. She wants to show how quickly and how violently people turn on each other, just as Keller predicted.
Turns them into demons like you.
And he proves her right. Prisoners shows us what any number of history books will tell you. People are capable of becoming absolute monsters at the drop of a hat. All it takes is for us to refuse to acknowledge the humanity of other people. Once that happens, there's no telling what we're capable of. And with that in mind, happy Thanksgiving.